Have you ever logged into something online, maybe your work portal or even just Netflix, and it instantly knows exactly what you can see, what features you can use?
Yeah, what buttons you can click, what data you're allowed to view.
Exactly. That kind of precision, well, it isn't magic. It's actually down to a really powerful idea in, well, digital security and how apps are designed.
We're talking about role-based access control here, RBAC for short.
Right, RBAC. And our deep dive today, it's all about peeling back those layers. What is RBAC? Why is it so foundational now in our, well, very digital world?
And maybe most importantly, why it's more critical than ever, right here in 2025.
It really is. It's like this invisible backbone keeping things secure, but also, surprisingly, really organized.
What's fascinating, I think, is how RBAC takes something that could be just total chaos, imagine, individual permissions for every single user, and it turns it into something elegant, something relatively simple to manage.
That really captures it. It's not just a nice to have feature, it's a whole different way of thinking about access.
Absolutely, makes these huge complex systems actually workable.
Okay, so let's unpack that a bit more. What is role-based access control at its heart?
Well, fundamentally, it's a method, a strategy really, used in software to control who gets access to what features or data. And the key thing, it's based purely on their role.
Right, their role within the system or the organization.
Exactly. Think about a school, it's a good analogy. Teachers, they need to grade assignments, right? Students, they need to see their own grades, not everyone's.
And the administrators, they need access to manage all the records.
Precisely.
Right.
RBAC works just like that. It assigns users a role teacher, student, admin, and then spells out exactly what each role is allowed to do.
And you see this everywhere.
Oh, absolutely. Almost every app uses this pattern. It dictates if you can see sensitive info, if you can edit something, maybe approve a transaction.
Like online banking, that's a classic example.
Perfect. So your customer role lets you check your balance, maybe move money between your accounts. Pretty limited. But then you have a bank manager role. Totally different permissions. They can approve loans, see broader customer data, things a regular customer definitely shouldn't touch.
It's all about giving just enough access for the job, the principle of least privilege, right?
Exactly. And if we break RBAC down, there are really four main parts working together.
Okay.
First, obviously, you've got the users, the actual people, or sometimes even other systems using the app, employees, customers, whatever. Second, the roles. These are those categories like admin, editor, viewer, manager. They define a set of capabilities for a group.
Grouping users together,
Right. Third, you have the permissions. These are the really specific actions or resources a role can access. Things like view report, edit profile, delete user, very granular.
Okay, users, roles, permissions. What's the fourth?
Assignments. That's simply linking a specific user to one or more roles. So user Alice is assigned the manager role. That's the link.
Got it. So the system knows Alice is a manager and therefore gets manager permissions.
Precisely. For beginners, a good way to think about it is like a security guard in a big office building.
Okay.
The guard checks your ID badge, that's your role, and based on that badge, they decide which floors or rooms, which features or data you're allowed into.
Ah, I like that. Instead of a unique key for every single door.
Exactly. You get one badge, your role, and it unlocks all right doors for you. It simplifies things massively.
If that makes the how it works part much clearer too. So when I log in,
The application immediately checks your assigned role or roles.
right, and based on whether I'm, say, an employee or an administrator,
The system grants you access dynamically. An employee might just see their own timesheet.
while an admin sees everyone's timesheets and can maybe edit them too.
Exactly. And the system enforces those rules. It stops that employee from trying to access the admin functions, prevents mistakes, or worse.
And you mentioned tools earlier, like Spring Security. They help developers set this up.
Oh, absolutely. Modern frameworks like Spring Security for Java, Django System in Python, Passport.js for Node, they often have RBAC built in or easily added.
Makes sense. So developers aren't building this logic from scratch every time.
No, thankfully, it's often handled through configuration files or database tables. Much easier, much less error-prone.
It all sounds so logical, so necessary now. But it makes you wonder, what was it like before RBSC became common? What were the real headaches it solved?
Oh, that's a great question. Because before RBAC really took hold, managing access, especially in larger apps, it was frankly a nightmare.
How so?
Well, imagine trying to manually define permissions for every single user. Not roles, but individuals.
Oof. Thousands of users, thousands of individual permission sets.
Exactly. Incredibly time-consuming, hugely prone to errors. Someone clicks the wrong checkbox, and suddenly a junior staff member has access to sensitive financial data.
Yikes. Security nightmare.
Total security nightmare.
Oh.
And it just didn't scale. When new people joined or changed jobs or left, IT teams were swamped with manually updating permissions.
So slow, error-prone security risks.
And compliance failures, too. It was hard to prove who had access to what. Plus, just the sheer administrative overload, it was chaotic.
Okay, so RBAC came along as the solution to that chaos.
Precisely. It hits those problems head on. First, like we said, it dramatically enhances security. That principle of least privilege is baked in.
Right, the hospital app example, doctors see patient records, receptionists don't. Simple as that.
Prevents breaches, prevents misuse. Second, it massively simplifies access management. Managing, say, 10 roles is infinitely easier than managing 10,000 users individually.
That editor role example you gave, assign it once to 50 journalists, done. Much faster.
Way faster. It also helps improve organization because roles often map directly to real-world job functions. It makes sense structure-wise.
So it's not just about locking things down, it's also about making things efficient and logical.
Absolutely. And that leads to reducing errors. Fewer chances for someone to accidentally delete critical data because their role doesn't allow it.
And compliance. That seems huge today.
Hugely important. RBAC strongly supports compliance. Regulations like GDPR, IPAB, PCI DSS, they all require strict access controls and audit trails. RBAC provides a clear framework for that.
So it makes audits much easier because you can clearly show users in this role can access this data and here's who is in that role.
Exactly. It's a direct answer to those pre-RBAC challenges. Complexity, risk, scalability, compliance, admin burden. RBAC simplifies, strengthens, streamlines.
Okay, so connecting this to the bigger picture now, RBAC sounds great, but why is it so indispensable today in 2025? What's changed?
Well, a lot has changed, and it all points towards RBAC being more critical than ever. First off, the obvious one, cybersecurity threats. They're just constantly growing, more sophisticated.
Data breaches seem like they're in the news every week.
Sadly, yes. RBAC is a fundamental defense. By strictly limiting who can access sensitive areas, you drastically reduce the attack surface. Even if one account is compromised, the damage is contained if that user only had minimal necessary permissions.
That retail app example, again, the cashier can't get to the credit card database, even if their login is stolen.
Precisely. Minimizing risk. Then there's the shift in how we build software.
Cloud and microservices.
Exactly. Cloud platforms and microservices architectures are dominant now. Apps are broken down into tiny independent services. RBAC isn't just for users anymore. It's vital for managing how these services securely talk to each other.
Ah, right. Service A needs permission to call Service B, but not Service C.
You got it. Machine-to-machine authorization managed via RBAC principles, it adds a whole new layer. And on top of that, regulatory compliance just keeps getting stricter.
GDPR, HIPAA, all those.
Yep. They mandate strong controls.
Yep.
RBAC provides that clear, auditable proof that you're managing access responsibly. It's almost a requirement for doing business in many sectors.
So threats up, complexity up, regulations up. RBAC helps manage all of that. What about just the sheer size of modern systems?
That's another huge one. Scalability for large organizations. RBAC is essential.
Yeah.
You simply cannot manage access individually for tens or hundreds of thousands of users in a global company.
That sales role example, assign it once, apply it globally, makes perfect sense.
It's the only sane way. And this ties into user expectations, too, for user-centric apps. We expect personalized experiences, but they must be secure.
Like Netflix tailoring my view, but keeping admin functions hidden.
Exactly. RBAC lets you tailor the experience based on role, seamlessly blending personalization with security. And finally, let's not forget developer efficiency.
Ah, making it easier to actually build this stuff.
Right. In 2025, frameworks have mature RBAC support built in. Developers can implement robust security quickly without reinventing the wheel.
Yeah.
That speed is crucial today.
So putting it all together, where do we see RBAC making a real difference in the apps we interact with daily?
Oh, it's truly everywhere, often working silently in the background. Think about e-commerce, like Amazon. RBAC is critical there. It ensures, say, warehouse staff can manage inventory, but have zero access to customer payment details. Managers get sales reports, customers just see their orders. Very distinct roles.
Makes sense. Healthcare.
Absolutely vital in healthcare. Hospital systems rely heavily on RBAC. Only authorized doctors and nurses can access patient medical records. This protects privacy and is essential for IBVA compliance.
You really don't want the wrong person seeing that data.
Definitely not. Even social media platforms, like X, they use RBAC internally. Think about content moderators, advertisers needing analytics, engineers managing infrastructure, all different roles, different permissions.
And even for smaller companies, startups maybe?
For sure. Imagine a startup building a project management tool. RBAC is useful from day one. Team members can view and update their tasks. Project managers can create projects, assign tasks, set deadlines, tailored functionality based on role.
It really is a universal concept then, just applied differently depending on the context.
Absolutely.
So for someone listening who's intrigued by this, maybe a developer or someone getting into security, what stands out to you about how approachable RBAC is? How can they, get their hands dirty with it?
That's a great point. It is approachable and rewarding to learn. If you want to dive in, start with the basics. There are tons of great online tutorials, Free Code Camp, YouTube, Udemy, places like that. Really grasp the core ideas.
Yeah.
Users, roles, permissions, assignments.
Get the theory down first.
Right. Then explore specific frameworks. If you're into Java, definitely look at Spring Boot with Spring Security. The official Spring docs are excellent.
What about other languages?
Oh yeah, plenty of options. Django has great built-in auth for Python. For Node.js, libraries like Passport are widely used. Pick a framework you like and see how it handles RBAC.
And then presumably build something.
That's the key. Build simple projects, make a basic to-do list app or a blog, create a user role and an admin role. Give the admin extra powers like deleting posts or managing users.
Practical application.
Exactly. Tools like Spring Initializer or similar project generators can help you get a basic structure up quickly. And don't forget the community aspect.
Like forums.
Yeah, Stack Overflow, relevant subreddits, ask questions, see how others solve problems. It's a great way to learn.
So it sounds like there's a clear path for someone wanting to skill up in RBAC.
Definitely. Learn, explore, build, engage.
Okay, so boiling it all down, role-based access control. It's fundamentally a brilliantly simple but really powerful way to manage who gets to do what in an application.
Yeah, enhancing security, boosting organization, cutting down on chaos.
And it tackles those big problems, managing complexity, reducing security risks, meeting those tough compliance rules.
And its importance in 2025, well, it just keeps growing. You've got the relentless cybersecurity threats, the move to complex cloud and microservice systems.
And those ever-present regulations.
Exactly. Understanding RBAC, learning how to implement it, it's really about preparing yourself to build secure professional software in today's world. Data protection isn't optional anymore. This brings up a really interesting thought, though. As our digital lives get more and more tangled up with all these cloud services, these microservices that are getting smarter, how might RBAC itself need to evolve? How will it adapt to protect our privacy and our data in ways we maybe can't even quite imagine today? That's something to think about.